लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन जरूर प्रेस करें।
The cafe was buzzing with chatter, coffee cups clinking against saucers, and the faint sound of rain tapping on the windows. Ethan sat alone by the corner table, glancing at his watch for the third time. His blind date was already 20 minutes late. The truth was, he hadn't even wanted to be here. His best friend had set him up after months of watching him bury himself in work. "You need someone, man," his friend had said. "At least try." He sighed and checked his phone. No message. Just as he was about to leave, a woman rushed through the door, drenched, hair sticking to her face, and clutching a small purse like it held her entire world. She looked around, spotted him, and hurried over. I'm so sorry," she said breathlessly. "I'm late. I wasn't supposed to be here, but your date had an emergency. She asked me to come instead." Ethan blinked, confused. "Wait, what? You're a replacement." She gave an awkward smile, brushing her hair behind her ear. "Yeah. My roommate, Hannah, she's the one you were supposed to meet. She didn't want to stand you up, so she sent me." Ethan leaned back, trying to process. A replacement. He almost laughed. But something about her honesty, the nervous tremble in her voice, made him stay. "Well," he said, gesturing to the seat opposite him, "I guess we're both stuck here. Might as well make it less awkward." She smiled softly and sat down. "I'm Lily," she said. Ethan. What was meant to be a short, polite conversation stretched into hours. They talked about everything: books, favorite foods, the things that kept them awake at night. Lily wasn't what Ethan expected. She didn't try to impress him, she didn't pretend to be someone else. She laughed easily, listened deeply, and spoke like she'd been waiting her whole life to be heard. When they finally walked out of the cafe, the rain had stopped. They shared an umbrella, both silent, both smiling for reasons neither could explain. The next day, Ethan received a text from the original date, Hannah. "Hey, I heard Lily met you instead. Hope she didn't weird you out. She's sweet but not really your type, I guess." Ethan stared at the message and typed back simply, "Actually, she's exactly my type." He didn't send it yet. Instead, he called Lily. "Hey," he said, trying to sound casual. "Want to grab coffee again? This time, for real." Her laughter came through the line, warm and bright. "You sure you don't want Hannah instead?" "No," he said firmly. "I think I found who I was supposed to meet all along." Their connection grew naturally. Lily wasn't flashy, or perfect, or the kind of woman Ethan's world usually revolved around. She worked at a local bookstore, took care of her younger sister, and lived a life that was quiet but full of meaning. Ethan, on the other hand, came from a fast-paced business world: clients, deadlines, and constant pressure. They were opposites, yet every time he was with her, the noise in his head went SI. The rain came down hard that evening, blurring city lights into golden smears against the dark window of the small cafe. Inside, a man sat alone, glancing at his watch for the fourth time. His coffee had gone cold. Ethan Pierce wasn't the kind of man who waited for anyone. A successful architect, always in control, he lived by schedules and plans. But tonight, his plan had failed. His blind date was almost an hour late. He sighed, ready to leave, when the bell above the cafe door chimed. A woman rushed in, dripping wet, clutching a handbag to her chest. She looked around with anxious eyes until they met his. She walked toward him, nervously twisting a strand of hair between her fingers. "Hi, are you Ethan?" "Yes," he said slowly, puzzled. She exhaled in relief. "Good. I'm sorry, I'm not who you were supposed to meet. Hannah, your date, had an emergency. I'm her roommate. She asked me to come so you wouldn't be waiting alone." Ethan blinked, unsure whether to laugh or walk away. "You're her replacement?" Her cheeks flushed. "Yeah. I can leave if this is weird. I just didn't want to be rude." Something about her honesty, the way she looked genuinely sorry, softened him. "No, it's fine," he said after a moment. "Please, sit. I could use some company." She smiled shyly and took the seat across from him. "I'm Lily." Ethan, he replied. That was how it began. What was supposed to be a polite half-hour conversation stretched into 3. They talked about everything: books, childhood dreams, music, the small things that made them happy. Lily was simple, genuine, and refreshingly real. She laughed easily, and her eyes had a warmth that Ethan hadn't seen in a long time. When the cafe closed, neither wanted to leave. They walked under one umbrella through the rain, joking about fate and bad timing. By the time they said goodbye, Ethan had forgotten he was ever supposed to meet anyone else. The next morning, he received a text from Hannah. "Hey. Sorry about last night. Hope Lily didn't bore you too much. She's sweet, but not really your type, I guess." Ethan stared at the message and smiled. He typed back, "Actually, she's exactly my type." But he didn't send it. Instead, he called Lily. "Coffee again?" he asked. "This time, no replacements. Just you." She laughed. "You sure you're not missing Hannah?" "I'm sure," he said. "Completely." Their connection grew naturally, quietly. Lily wasn't from his world of luxury and deadlines. She worked at a bookstore, took care of her younger sister, and lived in a small apartment that always smelled of coffee and old paper. Yet, with her, Ethan felt peace. But love, as it often does, came with challenges. Lily's younger sister, Emma, had a heart condition that required constant care. Most of Lily's money went toward hospital bills. She rarely spoke of her struggles, afraid of pity. When Ethan found out, he offered to help. "I don't want your money," she said firmly. "I've handled this